Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. Credibility, integrity, moral compass, and conscience are sounding an alarm bell. Yes, a distress call, because these cardinal values on which a good society should be built are suffocating under the grip of some misguided compatriots. The recent mass GCE examination leaks is a case in point, and the dust is still to settle on what many have been quick to qualify as a scandal. Finger pointing doesn't solve the problem, and we don't think has ever helped in any crisis situation. That it is a collective responsibility is true, and that it is that a lasting solution must be collective is also true. But one person must take the lead and be the change they wish to see in others. The Minister of Secondary Education, Professor Nalova Lyonga, whose presence in this studio is an honor to us, took the bold, informed decision to stop the shame and reschedule the examination. The success of our action will be a giant step to restore the credibility and integrity, not only of the GCE, but also of other certificate examinations in Cameroon. On Press Hour today, we seek answers to questions as: what measures have been taken to prevent further leaks? Where are we with the investigation to uncover the culprits of the leaks? What are short and long-term measures to restore the integrity of certificate examinations in Cameroon? I am Kilian Dandi Foni Yaoundé, and this is Press Hour. This is Press Hour, and we are beaming live from Studio 4 of the CRTV Production Center here in Yaoundé. And our topic today again, I want to repeat that to you: certificate examinations in Cameroon. Can the credibility be restored? Professor Nalova Lyonga, herself the Minister of Secondary Education, decided to come, answer to our call, to come and clarify so many issues that are yet to settle about the scandal, as some of you called it, of the GCE. She is here, and we have the honor to receive you live, Your Excellency, on this set. You're welcome to Press Hour.
Thank you very much. It's my delight to be with you in your studios.
You are most welcome, and by you we have Mr. Akad Fidelis Eta. He is the Inspector General of Services in the Ministry of Secondary Education. You are standing by the Minister. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yes, and the pressmen are here with me to ask the questions, just the type of questions that you would like to be asked, so that you get clarifications on what is happening. Teneng Lucas Chefo is the publisher and editor-in-chief of the Reporter newspaper. Lucas, once again, you are a regular panelist on Press Hour. You are welcome to Press Hour once again.
Thank you very much, Kilian. I'm very, very delighted. And what is making me very, very delighted is that I'm sitting on the same panel with my lecturer in the university, Professor Nalova, who taught me 1987, 88, 89, 90. And I hope I will not have the complex of a student and teacher today.
No, we don't need that here. You are a journalist, she is a minister, to clarify this. Now, we're going to continue with the introduction. Let me tell you, she also taught me at the university. That was in 1991 and 92. Yes, we have another pressman here, and there, Richard Lajong is here. Richard is the publisher. Richard is the editor-in-chief of the Herald Tribune newspaper. Richard, welcome to Press Hour.
Thanks very much, Kilian. It's my pleasure to be on set again with the minister. This is the second time we'll be on set, and I'm glad that we are here together. And I know She's the type of minister that
is anxious to answer your questions.
Exactly.
Yes, so don't be very sure she will answer your questions. Yes, and at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call on Angela Mbong to give us the reading of the newspapers for the week. She has been going through the newspapers. Angela.
Cooperation between Cameroon and Nigeria was on the spotlight this week, even as political developments, education concerns and humanitarian support continue to feature across newspaper columns. Renewed engagement between Yaoundé and Abuja is highlighted by Cameroon Insider, which draws attention to the visit of a high-level Nigerian delegation led by the country's defense minister, Christopher Gwabin Musa. The paper notes that both states signed a memorandum of understanding on June 16, focusing on strengthening security along their shared border through intelligence sharing, training and joint operations. Extending this cooperation to another front, the Herald Tribune turns attention to maritime security, indicating that both countries have also reinforced collaboration over their southern borders. The paper explains that the agreement seeks to prevent incursions by armed groups while recalling earlier arrangements targeting threats along the northern border regions. Meanwhile, political reflections surface in the Horizon newspaper, which relays the position of prominent political scientist and public figure, Professor Elvis Ngolengole, who has expressed support for President Paul Biya's strategy for peace. The publication informs its readers that he endorses the head of state's approach centered on unity, amnesty, and national cohesion. Elsewhere, Newswatch shifts focus to opposition politics under the headline, SDF Two-Pronged Comeback Mission, Reconcile Estranged Members, Reclaim Lost Glory. According to the publication, the Social Democratic Front aims to reconcile members and prepare for future elections following a National Executive Committee meeting held in Bamenda. The paper adds that party leadership has called on supporters to remain ready for upcoming political contests. Away from politics, the economy is also making headlines. The Guardian Post reports on humanitarian assistance from China, indicating that food aid valued 1.6 billion francs CFA has been handed over to Cameroonian authorities by the representative of the Chinese ambassador to Cameroon to the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji. The paper further notes that the consignment, made up of rice and wheat, will be delivered in several batches, with the first shipment received in Douala. On the business pages this week, Cameroon Tribune highlights intense activity on course at Promote 2026. The publication informs that the International Trade Fair has been officially launched and is underway, with companies presenting products and establishing business contacts. Another subject widely discussed this week relates to the 2026 GCE examinations. The Median indicates that the GCE board and the Ministry of Secondary Education are at odds following the suspension of the exams over alleged leakage. The paper further reports that parallel investigations have been initiated, while internal measures are targeting suspected sources of information leaks. Still on the same matter, Municipal Update notes that authorities have assured readiness for the resumption of the GCE session, pointing to measures put in place to continue the examination process. In another development, Eco Outlook reports that the Cameroon Climate Journalism Network has honored barrister Nico Halle for his contribution to peace efforts in recognition of his role in promoting peace initiatives. And that's how we saw it in this week's edition of the Press Review. Sunday next for what the papers would have said.
Thank you so much, Angela. The newspapers were very outgoing to the events of the week. Thank you so much. We look forward to having you for what the newspapers would have said, as you rightly said. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into the discussion of the day. I want to remind you that we have the Minister of Secondary Education on the set, who has come to clarify certain things, as especially candidates look forward to continuing, if you like, the writing part of the GCE General on Monday, the 22nd of June, that is tomorrow. We have the minister here with us. She is the one who took the decision to reschedule the examination because of what people have described as massive fraud. Now, within the 2 weeks, Madam Minister, what have you been doing within these 2 weeks? First of all, you suspended the exams, to reschedule. It is done. This is the last day of the suspension. So tell us what you have been doing. I know you must have been having very busy schedule to make sure that what happened does not repeat itself.
Yeah, thank you very much, Killian. I hope I can go straight to answers because I know the time is very short. Well, the first question that you asked me a question, I would ask you a question. Was that a crime? That is the first question we should ask ourselves. Because this is a subject that has come up usually as an allegation. But here now we're not talking about allegation because I was a witness of the problem myself. I went to the scene. I saw the student. I saw the tape. I saw the papers. Some of them I still have here. You know, this is a whole set. From one center, you can see what I have here. This is
pre-prepared material.
Pre-prepared material. I don't know what you want to do.
This is voluminous.
This is one center, I'm saying. And
week.
those were 72 pre-prepared material. Now, I went there myself because I didn't want any, controversies about whether it happened or it didn't happen. So I'm saying it's not an allegation. It happened. Ladies and gentlemen, we are tired. We're tired of having scammers trying to draw the country down to its knees. We are not going to take that because, Cameroon is not that type. The Cameroon government is a lawful government, and it wants things to go as scheduled. And so that's why we suspended the exam. I want people to understand that it is not a cancellation of the exam. It is a suspension. And so people should be aware that if they are angry, I am very happy. I want them to be very, very angry. Because it's not a playing ground. The children want to take us to the playing ground. No. When something is wrong, we call the children, tell the children it is wrong. Adults and children cannot play on the same level. And so, please, I'm happy that you're angry, but when you're angry, we must find solutions to these problems. And what have I done? We remained incommunicado. I think that's the best thing that you do when you're doing an exam. That's the way that you do it. We can't tell you everything that we've done, but I'm going to tell you a critical issue. That is, when we reschedule the exams, it means that we're going to have the material that will permit the body, the GCE body, to run its exams. They are the one running the exams. It is not MINESEC that is running the exams. Again, people should be very aware of that. MINESEC comes in to intervene, to correct a situation. And here I'm correcting the board chairperson, that the minister is not interfering. The minister is intervening to improve situations. And that's what we did. And what did we have to do? I had to bring machines all the way from Yaoundé.
11 machines.
11 machines, 12 human resource persons. I had to take the best from my examination department to make sure that they are working with the GCE board, with the GCE board. Please take it very clearly. It's with the GCE board. And when people say Yaoundé again, what do they mean by Yaoundé again? Yaoundé have come again to take over our things. What is Yaoundé taking from them? Again, Anglophones should be very careful with the way they use words. Has Yaoundé become a taboo to all Anglophones? Is the Prime Minister a Yaoundé Francophone? Is Nalova a Francophone? I don't know, you can ask Killian, are you a Francophone?
Not at all.
I don't know. We need to be very careful with the use of these words. And that when we have problems, when I say we, I mean people from the two English-speaking areas. Let us look at our problems. Let us not look at somebody else, a scapegoat who will answer our problems. And besides the material contribution that we made, I gave them on Thursday, was it on Thursday that we were in Buea?
Yes.
On Thursday, 150 million. That is to say that we had to look at our budget and shift, what was really important to ensure that this thing was done. I did my homework, and I knew that this could be done in 2 weeks. People were trying to write my press release for me. I wrote the press release, and I did my work to know that in 2 weeks this can be done.
And we assure, you assure us, you assure the students, you assure the teachers, you assure the education community that, as you're saying, Monday is hours ago that everything will be okay. You've done your homework.
That's right. I didn't issue another press release. And people need to know how to read press releases. You get a press release from the minister. That is the press release from the minister. Trying to find out, are they going to change? Are they going... The minister has not signed another press release to say that we cannot do it.
I looked at the press release that was faked. It looked like the original press release that you issued. They must have used AI to do that.
Everything that is fake looks like true. It looks like the true thing. But when you look at other details inside there, we had other details that we looked at that could tell, because I was wondering why the people were behaving so foolishly when it was not the minister's communique.
Now, because it came out once, it may come up again when you issue a press release. Is there any advice to students, because they are going to, especially they who may be victim of the situation, that once they see anything, where should they go to verify? Where should they call to find out, to assure themselves that either this is coming from you or not? Where should they go to? What should they do?
They can call the Yaoundé that they don't want to call all the time.
Yes, when they
but
need
they
it.
have to call Yaoundé.
Okay.
And find out what the truth is.
Okay.
And Anglophones should stop looking at Francophones as their enemies, because we do have enemies amongst the Anglophones as well. So it is not that Yaoundé has come again. What is that Yaoundé? So they should call Yaoundé and find out, is it true? And usually we stamp on it, fake. My journalist is there. He's sitting there, very alert, very.
Okay.
And he tells you that's not the case.
Now, let us look at the material that you took to Buea. So many machines, staff, human resource staff, and some other Stuttgart emergency measures that you took to Buea to help solve a crisis situation. I suppose you are going to allow the machines there so that, or what are you going? What will become?
Not even an iota of machine will be left in Buea. I'm collecting everything at the end of the period that I have indicated. Everything is coming back. So they will have to ask for material. And the point is, when you are in such a sensitive program, you have to know what material to buy. You have to know what material you should have. That is, GC board must know that they are around even a place that is called Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley will have more machines than they have, and they would do better things than they would do. And what I did with them, as soon as we had this case when it came out, I called them from Buea. You come here, let us see. The first thing is to have the hypothesis. What is the hypothesis? This thing did not happen from the air. This thing happened. We know that Mr. Success is somebody. It happened here. Tell us, how could it happen? How did it happen? There was a lot of innocence, and you cannot be innocent in the world of AI. Because even you think that we don't know. Even you could be somebody doing something like that. Even your collaborators could be that. The first thing is to be humble enough to say, it could have happened even in my place, but let us investigate. But there was a lot of innocence. And it was as though it was Yaoundé that was who wanted to torpedo press print. What am I torpedoing? Press board. Why? JC board. For what reason? There's absolutely no reason. You know, the schedule that we follow is that if you remove the lady who is there now, you have to bring in a Southwesterner. So it would have been in my interest to remove her.
So there's we call it gentleman's agreement.
Of course.
Oh, we didn't know some of
it. And the person who talks loudest about the fact that, somebody is interfering, I keep saying he should go back and see the difference between interfere
and intervene.
I was doing my job, and I did it. And if somebody is not doing their job, I will step in and tell them that they're not doing their job.
Yes, that's the supervisory body. The
supervisory role.
Yes. Now, you certainly, we heard you say investigation. You have material here. Some of the material is here. And we know it's part of the material, originals that you gave to the competent authorities to do the investigation. Do we have the results? People want to know what are the first results that you have of the investigation.
Yes, I'll tell you that it is interesting that people want to know about the results. But people should know that they also are the ones who are pushing this kind of fraud. Even people outside. Parents, because you give your children money. The parents give their children money. You know, there are other things that are happening. People want their children to pass, you know, and so they do that. So, and you know the people who are engaged in this fraud. So why are you not reporting? Why are you asking me to give you the results? Please, results, you'll wait for the right quarters to give you the results.
Yes, I know if you say we wait, it means that you don't have immediate sanctions. Yes,
the investigations are ongoing.
Yes.
So we do not yet have results.
Yeah, but the Inspector General...
Kilian, let me just... 1 minute.
Yes.
Are we sure that when the investigations are complete, shall the results be published?
The results of the investigation. Why are investigations undertaken? So that they should be published.
Because often there are investigations and other things that people have waited and the results have never been made public.
They will tell you that they don't have results.
Our interest on getting the results of the investigation is that we should name and shame those so that it shouldn't repeat itself. It's not as if we are really interested in the investigations. What we are interested in is that the Ministry of Secondary Education took a bold step in and put in what we call damage control mechanisms that are working. So, because all what the ministry did was what we call damage control mechanisms. Yes. Because the ministry could have cancelled the whole exams, and that would have been a blank
disaster.
Year, a blank year for the children. But the ministry stepped in and brought in damage control mechanisms which are working, and those are the safety valves that have to exist in situations like that. I saw the minister talking about somebody saying intervening and interfering. I was equally flabbergasted when somebody said that interfering.
Yeah.
When there's a supervisory rule, when there's something that goes wrong, somebody must be accountable. Somebody must step in. Yes. Otherwise, there will be no control over the situation.
No sense of direction.
There will be no sense of direction.
Right.
Still related to the investigation, we're still going to come to questions that will be coming from the public. There's somebody who asked a question related to that. Akaba James, who thinks that when you order for an investigation, you actually follow it up. You will not sit for the person who is the competent authority, probably with some of their interests or some other thing, to take their time and do it their way. You have to follow up. That is a comment coming from Akaba James, who has sent that to us. The question I will ask the Inspector General is about the sanctions. we don't have the results, but the penal code provides some sanctions to someone who cheats in exam. I think you have some of those.
Thank you very much. The sanctions are, they have different levels. There are administrative sanctions, and there could be legal.
Yes.
They could be legal. Now, but if found guilty, the candidate pays a fine and can even be imprisoned for 3 years. That's what the penal code states.
Yes, and the
Article
163.
60 something.
Yes, Article 163, for those who want to find out and get the details of the sanctions, the penal code states that you will pay a fine, maybe from 25,000 to up to 2 million, and you could be imprisoned from, I think, 6 months to 3 years, as you say. Yes, you can go verify the information yourselves.
As far as administrative sanctions are concerned, either a paper could be cancelled, the candidate could be suspended from taking part in any official exam for 3 years.
Okay. I think,
depending on the gravity of the offense.
Now, we are going to, since we don't have the results, but you should be taking, Madam Minister, you should be already looking for short-term and long-term measures of preventing GCE leaks or the leaks of other certificate public examinations. Are you working on that already?
Oh, yes, we're going to work on it. You know, the way that exams are set today will not be the way they will be set tomorrow. Today, we're having a lot of interference still because GCE board still has not come to the level where we can use encryption. It's encryption that should be used. That is, take away the human human resources that are coming in. Do machine to machine and have the results that you want. So long as you have human intervention, you cannot, I don't think that anybody can wipe off fraud. It's going to be, but you can reduce it.
Okay, reduce it is the watchword.
You can reduce it, that's the watchword. You can eliminate it altogether, but the sure word is that you can reduce it, you know, and that is what will be done, hopefully. And we hope that everybody will take to this method of doing things, everybody concerned with exams. Because I cannot understand how, at this point in time, any question bank can be in manuscript. It shouldn't be in a manuscript at this point in time.
And I think you're already touching on something which is dear, which is close to your heart, the digitalization. Richard, maybe you ask a question today.
Yes, I want to find out from the minister if digitalization is actually the magic wand against corruption and fraud, which you have been fighting for and already achieved in other examination sectors.
Yes, of course it is. If you have the machine, if you don't see what is in the machine, what are you going to write? What is Success going to write? He has to prove his point. Anyway, I'm waiting for him. Because, you know, intelligence gives birth to intelligence. So we're all going to fight it out, if that's what he wants.
Now, do you have a question?
No, my problem is, you see, it's just like the issue of laws in our country. We have good laws, but those to implement those laws. So the machine must be manned by somebody. We have to look for people who have integrity, who have trust. I know Anglophones. Let me just bring a small anecdote. When I was growing up, my father would go and see his friend and say, "Please, I need money. I will give you 2 bags of coffee. I want to send my child to school." His friend would give him money. There would no paper written anywhere. It was on a matter of trust. And during the harvesting season, I will be the person who carry the coffee, the 2 bags, and go and give his friend. And there was nothing written as, so Anglophones have always operated on the issue of trust and integrity. That has been our hallmark. I don't know what went wrong that people can't. I've seen students who are very, very annoyed when they say that there's a leakage. They don't want to hear that it's a leakage because it appears they have worked and they want to get the results of their hard work. And when they hear there are leakages, most of them are really very discouraged. What I was about to say, Killian, is that I have another worry. The worry is those who are supposed to man our distinction should be morally upright. We're not going to bring people from space.
I was going to ask you that question.
We're not going to bring people from space
not.
to come and handle our own issues.
Yes.
So why should we think that at times when you do some of those things, I don't know how those guys go to bed and sleep. I don't know how they go to bed and sleep because if you have the issue of trust, integrity, when I write an exam and I come out and I fail or I pass, I'm happy. But fail with honors than to pass with fraud.
Disgrace.
Get some grace with fraud. And as we were saying, man is the child, or child is the man of tomorrow. So when these children...
The child is the father of the man.
When these children who have passed through these fraudulent methods to become what they are, imagine, Killian, that you allow somebody to become a medical doctor when he doesn't know anything. You might think that it's not affecting you because you're not concerned. But tomorrow you might fall sick and go to the hospital and that very medical doctor has to operate you.
That's very
Imagine
serious.
the results.
That's
so all
serious
of us are affected
Yes.
with the leakage in exams. Our educational system should be solid. We know that any person anywhere is ready and is capable of handling whatever post of responsibility and do something that is good for the nation.
That's
Yes.
why we are saying that it's not a playing ground. This is not a playground today that we're talking about. I can see people laugh about it. Some children are just very happy. They couldn't care less, you know. But this is not a playground. Children can go and play, but let's not play with this.
This exam is, in fact, it's a high-stakes exam. This rescheduled examination. We should know that, though we are talking about examination here, even the image of the country is affected. So we should know that as we are talking exam, we should know that the reputation of the country is at stake. So we should do everything to make sure that the exam takes place without any hitches.
When we talk about we here, you as the supervisory,
I mean the actors, the stakeholders.
that's the message.
That's the message, the minister's message.
Please.
Yeah, other questions from you?
I have a question from somebody.
Yes.
Yes,
Let's get the question.
Chove Law. The minister has already given an answer to that, but let me ask his question because I just sent the question through my phone. That Chove Law is of Cameroon, former Cameroon Tribune, Baminda. He says, how much expected support has the government or the Ministry of Secondary Education been assisting the GCE board for investments for them to have credible exams?
That's a good question.
Good one.
Because I would ask you, has the GCE board complained? They will not complain. You know why? Because they are independent. That's the thing. You know, they're bicephalous. You know,
Yes, yes.
two heads. There's an administrative head, that's Nalova. There is financial head, that's the Ministry of Finance. So, that is why the board can even dare talk about Nalova interfering. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, if you think that you're independent, would you come and ask me anything? You would not ask me anything. I gave 150 million taken from a budget, you know, looking at the budget and adjusting the budget.
That's
Did they ask
150.
me? 150. Did they ask me? They would not ask me. But they were trying to hold a meeting to look for where the money is going to come to reschedule the exam. Somebody is ahead, he's ahead. You cannot compete with that person.
Now, let's look at this printing press as part. We are not saying that is where it happened, but being independent, as you say, the GCE board should have its own printing press.
Yes.
Is that too much?
It is not too much, it is the essence.
Okay.
It is the essence. How much have they prioritized it? This is the question. How much have they prioritized it? Do you have to feel comfortable enough to go to another place where you don't even know the statistics of the... I mean, I can't get into the sort of work that we did before we finally sent people to Buea, because you have to know how many papers you're using, how many exams you're using, how many minutes will it take you to print the first set and the second set. I have had to send my director of examinations here, and I thank all of them for the sort of work that they did. And they've been working morning and night, because I said we must keep to the schedule, you know. So the thing is that you have to know exactly, you know, what you need, how you can beat the system. And if you don't know it, carry your material, go and give it to a printer. He will do everything, count it, and he will tell you, madam, this is what you need. And that may not be what you need. But you must know your own material, and your own needs must come from you before it comes from anybody who is serving you outside.
There's a question coming in from Adian Fred. He is a teacher. He's even also a superintendent in the current exam we're talking about. He is asking whether, as a measure to limit fraud or even stamp out fraud, is it not possible for the GCE writing time, the duration, to be limited to 1 week instead of 3 weeks? Because he gives an example by saying a paper like geography. Paper 1 could be written in the morning, paper 2 written in the afternoon, and maybe if there are 3 sections, they are written the same day, for example, and then the time be compressed to, say, 1 week maximum.
Killian, this is a weakness that we have in Cameroon. People don't have perspectives before they do suggestions. You must have your perspective. And it's not at this time anyway that where you're trying to put out a fire, you're also trying to change the whole structural change, you know. Structurally, that is something to be discussed by everybody involved. You just cannot sit and say, you do this in 1 hour, do it in 30 minutes. No, it doesn't work.
So long term, that's possible, it should be discussed?
If it is a question that is needed, it can be done.
Okay.
There is no problem. You know, people should remember that GCE is a communal thing. We build a community to do that GCE. It's not only us who are doing GCE. It's done all over the world. And if we want to change, how conducive is such a change to what we're going to arrive at? What are the perspectives that we look at? So it is not a question that is banned. It is an issue that will need people to come in and discuss when the time comes, including himself.
Thank you so much. Let me just ask you, before I give you the microphone, Richard, there is this a measure of catchment centers that seem to have worked until recently. From the communique that I read for the GCE that is resuming tomorrow, Monday, the catchment centers do not appear again. It is what I see as liaison center. So could we know why this measure and what these terms mean to people like us who are not part of the GCE writing process?
That will be a whole discussion on their structure, on their structure, which we're not going to go on. But you can give some clarification on that.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for giving me this opportunity. Catchment centers have been suspended, but catchment centers were adopted at a period when you discovered that by choosing a particular spot in a given
Area.
particular spot in a given area, superintendents and chiefs of centers in nearby schools, nearby accommodation centers could come pick their questions a few minutes to the exam time, the start time. And then after writing, they carry the work scripts back to the catchment center. But so far, perhaps that might be part of the problem. We do not know. So it was simply a test, but then they've discovered maybe they've discovered that that is the cause of the problem. So we can't tell.
Now, from the rest of the exam is going to take place where the papers and other material will be secured, kept. Is the liaison centers, is that?
The liaison offices.
Offices, thank you.
Mm-hmm. The liaison offices are at the level of the regions, but they receive the questions, and then the questions, the chiefs of center and the superintendents come and receive their questions. This time, questions will be kept, questions and work scripts will be secured in strong rooms of the accommodation centers.
Strong rooms are, like we say in common language,
The
safes.
bunker, the safes.
Okay. Do you have the safes in remote areas? Let's say that the liaison office is in Yaoundé, and we have Bafia far up there. We have Nangai Boko far down there in the same center region.
That is the part of the criteria for a center to be accredited as an accommodation center.
Yes, you have a strong room.
You have a strong room.
Okay, you had some more other questions.
I have this preoccupation which is coming from the public, because there's also raised a lot of debate, public debate, Madam Minister, things about, I mean, with the role you have played, some people have that impression that the interim board of the GCE, the Transitional Management Board, has overdue. And why is it that a new board has not been put in place? And still in line with that, Madam Minister, there are people who think that the delay, or that there's a kind of conflict between the Ministry of Secondary Education and the GCE board, who has an interim registrar, that if it were a Southwesterner, for example, I mean, we would not have had all these problems we are facing now. I don't know what is delaying the appointment of a permanent board that is not transitional since the death of the former board registrar.
The first thing is that the minister does not appoint the registrar. So that's off target. But apart from that, my interest in having a Southwest or Northwest registrar, as the case may be, is really on the side. First of all, if I wanted a Southwesterner as registrar, I would have done this thing fast enough, because, as you know, I'm from Limbe, so I would have done it quickly. So I really don't have any interest. I don't know what if it's not just this Cameroon syndrome of, questioning everything that you can question. When I say Cameroon syndrome, it's like, I was listening to some Cameroonians the other day criticizing the football assistant referee, the
video assistant referee.
People said that cannot be true. I mean, this thing, look at it, it's wasting time to decide what is that. This is somebody who doesn't know what is inside that ball that makes it possible for it to pinpoint somebody who has done it wrong. They don't know the first thing about a ball, but they start by criticizing the VAR. Yes, the thing is that we have to learn to find out what is really the truth behind this thing. Yep. So she is not the one appointing. Let the people who are appointing do their appointments.
I see.
With suggestions from...
Suggestions from me, but if I am not doing it, how does it still become my thing? You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
her argument is very tenable. And then, if she had an interest, she should not delay.
Yes, would have done it.
Are you getting where we are?
Yeah.
She should have done it faster, not instead delay.
Yeah, but I mean, the interim. Can we not move away from that transitional board, Madam Minister?
Can we not move away from anything that we want to move away from?
We can.
We can.
The minister has already answered that.
Yes.
Yes.
Any other question? I want to move forward. Yes, this is time for you and questions from out of the studio.
I don't have any other question out of the studio.
Okay, Richard, so I can move ahead.
Yes, we can move ahead. I think I'll come back.
Yes, now we are on the eve of the resumption of the GCE that was suspended to take the measures that you have already given us here. We'd like to have your message. 1, to the candidates first. 2, to the teachers, invigilators, superintendents, and why not to the education community as a whole?
And even students.
Yes, as
We are the students.
yes, the candidates. We call them at this level candidates.
The parents as well.
The parents, yes, we talked about them.
No, I want to say, I mean, he can continue after that because it's not a long time. We cannot enumerate them all. The first thing is that there should be no loitering around the examination center. No loitering. If you don't have a paper, I'm speaking to the candidates. If you don't have a paper, don't come to school. We don't want that. That is the first one. And that one is really on my mind so much because we are going to see what is happening to those who are circumventing and loitering in the whole place. If you have all your smart phones and eyeglasses and other smart things, don't bring them to school.
So this message is not only going to the candidates, it's also going to the invigilators not to allow any student to loiter. I think that...
Exactly.
Okay.
And if it happens in a center, of course they know what will happen.
Okay.
If it happens in a center. Because I don't see how you can be invigilating in a center and you have 72 pre-prepared material coming in, 72. I don't see how you can be in a center and you have 3,053
candidates.
tapes and candidates. You have, you know, one tape which has 353 members. That is only one center. That's only one center. And in fact, when I was doing exams in Britain, you couldn't go to the toilet. Go to the toilet before you start.
No fidgeting.
No fidgeting, nothing. And when you finish, you stand up. You leave everything on the table. Stand up and you're out. And so I'm telling the candidates, no toilet going. If they have what my colleague calls, what do you call
roving
them?
invigilators.
Roving invigilators. They have some invigilators who are outside who can take those candidates that are pressed. But make sure you go to the toilet before coming in to write an exam.
Okay.
It's only, what is it, less than 2 hours.
Yes, some papers are they are less than 2 hours.
Well, the difficulty of a paper can upset the system of a candidate. But thank God you have made provision for that for the roving invigilators to take care of such emergency. Now, another issue.
Any other issue
Yes.
that you want to press on?
Now, invigilators are instructed to do a thorough search of each candidate, preferably by using metal detectors. So the minister insisted a few minutes ago, they have to be very vigilant.
And have metal detectors.
Yes, and the schools are, the centers are supposed to have metal detectors.
Yes, the metal detectors, yes, they will detect phones and other
Phones
metal
and
things.
other-
What
But
about
scripts.
what about scripts?
Pre-prepared scripts
Pre-prepared
material.
script material.
So that's why we say they should do a thorough search
Okay.
of the candidates.
Because we have seen cases where children write on their uniforms inside out. And
They carry it in their private parts.
Yes,
that will be
they
searched.
even write on money, on banknotes. That's what we've noticed.
Our society is bad.
Yes, this year.
Our society is
So,
bad.
okay.
Then what about the time? Because the time for them, the people should give at least 15, 20 minutes before students start writing so that they can give sufficient time for those checks.
That's why the minister is insisting here that candidates will not be allowed in the exam hall 15 minutes before the start of the exam.
That's good.
So all candidates must be
By
in the
7
exam
a.m.
hall at 7:45.
latest.
No longer at 8 a.m. This time it is 7:45 a.m.
Now let us talk about the CCTV camera.
Before we get to that, in the same vein, once seated, they will not be allowed to leave the exam hall
except in urgent.
except in very urgent
Cases.
cases.
Okay. Now I was asking about the new
CCTV
surveillance system, the
Surveillance
CCTV
cameras.
yes, that were introduced. How effective were they this time? And then how are you going to reinforce that?
Well, surveillance cameras will not stop people from cheating. Surveillance cameras are there to help the chief of center, the invigilator, and the superintendent, because they are the ones. The invigilator is there to see for him or herself whether the candidates are working individually. But at the level of the chief of center's office, there's a screen. So he too tries to see what's going on. In case the invigilator does not detect any case of fraud, he or she has to draw the attention of the invigilator.
So in real terms, it actually controls cheating.
Yes, it does. The Cavian
So,
they assist.
Each tool has its thing that it does
Yeah.
to effect a real smooth examination.
Now,
Kilian,
yes.
we have this 100% syndrome in colleges, and it is alleged that sometimes these people are connected to the fraud, to the leakages that we are having exam. Because, like, for example, we have scripts here for a center. Who knows? It could be the handiwork of this is a 100% syndrome about the school. How are we going to check that? And with this session that begins tomorrow, this second, praying that nothing happens, what if something happens? What is going to happen? What is the ministry going to do? Cancel the whole exams, or we go back to another suspension?
Let's wait and see.
I think so.
Let's wait and see.
I think so.
When Prof is cocksure of the measures is put in
Let's
place,
wait and see.
and we just pray that it doesn't
So,
happen.
if I interpret the wait and see, it's like saying that you are having no option on that's restoring the credibility, the integrity of the exam. Is that what we understand by that?
Of course.
Obviously.
Okay. In that case, this is what I ask now. This rescheduling affects the timetable, the calendar of the GCE examination from writing to marking. What measures are going to be taken to catch up? Because by now they should have been finishing, and then marking had to start. Now, what are the measures? Will it affect the next school year, or you take what will you do to catch up so that it doesn't affect the calendar of the reopening?
In a small way. I don't think that it's going to affect the whole schedule. It's going to affect it minimally.
Okay, it will not affect the reopening of 2026,
Yes.
2027.
Remember that we have not really changed anything. And GCE does not have to pay for people who have not marked or whatever. This period from 8th to 20-something, this period is the period of pause. It's a pause for which you pay nobody.
Okay.
You pay nobody. So, and they just carry the thing over and push the next series of papers forward. And so we're saying that those who have studied have nothing to fear. If you have studied, you have nothing to fear. If you have not studied, we pray God you'll do well.
Thank you. I don't think there's time to ask questions.
No,
because
I was just thinking.
Yeah, you think aloud and then let that be your way forward.
Yes, the way forward is, you see, in any system, there must be a torchbearer. I think, irrespective of what the GCE board is trying to claim as interference, I think the Ministry of Secondary Education has been the torchbearer in this examination fraud. I'm saying so because there's children who were supposed to go to, if they had cancelled the whole year, parents have already prepared their children to go abroad after the GCE. 1 year would have been lost. So our way forward is, I will play with the minister that after the exam, she should not take her machines back from where?
She has said they will come back. Okay, she has even given them some money. Okay.
All
Yes,
my machines
Richard.
and all my staff will follow.
Yes, Richard.
I think as a way forward is just to encourage the stakeholders, parents, the candidates, and whoever is involved in the exam. Let us maintain the credibility of the GCE. It is our own pride. We should maintain it.
It is our heritage.
Heritage.
That is our legacy.
How many things shall we kill before we think that Cameroonians will believe that we are strong?
No.
You don't have to kill the GCE.
The Inspector General of Services in the Ministry of Education.
Yes, just to say that anybody who tampers with the integrity, the credibility of the examination system is not doing any good to the future citizens of the country.
Thank you. The last word to our august guest, the Minister of Secondary Education.
I will just say that Cameroonians should be serious over things that are serious and laugh over things that are laughable. But we cannot laugh over everything on which our identity rests. And so let them remain Cameroonians. And Cameroonians should not be the people that they target. No Cameroonian Anglophone or Francophone should become a taboo for any other person. If something is wrong, let us sit together and look at the problem and find the solutions. It is not to say, die on the people that don't come again.
Thank you so much. It's our honor to have you here. Candidates, ladies and gentlemen, no GCE for sale, no certificates for sale. That's the wish of all of us. Thank you so much for being there today to watch this special edition of Press Hour.